Hello, welcome to Everyday Ordinary, Extraordinary Women. I'm Martina and I'm here with Christina, and we're your podcast hosts. And we're deep divers and avid students of life and powerful facilitators for healing. In real life, I'm a life coach specializing in parent and women empowerment, and I'm also a sound healer.
I'm Christina. I'm an intuitive healer who blends massage therapy with energy work to provide customized, holistic services for my clients. We both love to incorporate crystals, essential oils, angelic Reiki, and intuitive guidance into all of our work.
And we were inspired to create this podcast after pondering on this question. What would the world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually we are so quick to compare and judge ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody is losing. So depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. Those are the only two options. And you know what? Neither of those options make us feel great. Now here's our thought. Someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from first impressions, and we invite you, the listener, to go beyond first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There is inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we're willing to look. And today, we're here with Andrea. So, Andrea, welcome. Thank you for being here. Do you want to tell our listeners who you are?
Sure. And thank you so much for asking me to be on your podcast. I'm so deeply honored to be here. So I guess I'm a long list of things, as I'm sure we all are, right? So probably my most cherished title is mother, right? So I have a son. I am a healer on multiple levels. I used to be a registered nurse, and then I left that after having my son and moved into education. And so I'm a teacher. Those are my two favorite things, is being a healer and teacher. Unfortunately, I've been able to incorporate them throughout my life in different ways. I'm, an wife, daughter, a sister, and a friend. All of those are very cherished and important to me. And so those are really how I make choices around my life. I also happen to work for Syracuse University. So I work for an education entity, which also, just supports where I want to be. So I'm really lucky that I get to bring my love of healing through my life in multiple ways as this golden thread, including into my career. So it's really awesome.
That's so beautiful. Andrea, thank you so much for being here with us today. You know, who you are for us, it's funny, we were talking about you before this, and we're like, oh, she's a Reiki master, but you're not just a Reiki master, you're a Reiki master squared, because you're a Reiki master in two different Reiki modalities. So that alone is just so inspiring to me. The commitment that you have to healing and teaching people is really extraordinary. But you're just a fiercely protective mama bear and loyal friend. Like, the short time I've known you, that's who you are for me. You've got this quiet confidence, but this powerhouse behind it all, and it's really inspiring.
Aw, thank you. I love the term mama bear, quite frankly.
You are a fierce mama bear.
Yeah, thanks.
Nothing else. That is the first thing that comes when I think of you.
Thank you. I so appreciate that.
So, Andrea, if we really knew you, what would we know about you?
Well, you're super intuitive, Christina, because one of the things I am is a fiercely loyal individual to my friends and family. So those who know me best know that it may take a little time for you to get in. But once you're in, I'll defend you to the end, right? So that's probably the biggest thing, that that exterior wall, well, I'm trying to filter. Right. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes with letting someone in that deep. So that's probably one of the things. The Reiki is another, right? When I first did Reiki, I didn't tell anyone right? It was just for me. It was new. It was woo-woo. I mean, I did Reiki first like 25 plus years ago, right? Was not mainstream. It was woo-woo. So, you know, I stuck with it though for myself. And then of course became a Reiki master, was unable to teach that, and then of course by that point, it was way more mainstream, and was able to work in a, you know, rent some space in a spa. So after work, I could go do sessions on folks. And then of course, as you know, did angelic Reiki not that long ago. What you might not know is that I just completed my water mastery practitioner level with Rachel Edgley in the UK. And I'll be continuing on with that as she offers the next levels. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
What is that?
So,
Yeah.
essentially you're working with Neptune and the archangels. It's a system that enables divine flow in all aspects. It's a unique multi-dimensional system designed to restructure and enhance all fluid transporting systems in the body, including all crystalline structures and water molecules. And it, in particular, facilitates the release of old energy, making space for new energy. So it seeks out old energy patterns and traumas to transform you into the crystalline walking structure that you were meant to be. It's also
Okay, we're enrolled. Christina and I want to sign up
Yeah.
for the next class.
okay.
So when you're ready to teach, you let us know.
Okay.
It's really funny because I'm sitting here, I'm like, and I look at Christina, it's like, open mouth, it's like, yes, please.
Yes,
Kick
it's
us.
just
Flow,
so
flow,
amazing.
please,
So
yes.
yeah, so I don't have the little thing up on my website yet, but I'm working on it. So that's the gist of it. But and the instructor Rachel is just amazing. So as I work my
But
way up, I'll let
can
you
you
know.
teach it? Can you teach it?
Not yet. I'll be working my way up. So,
Okay.
so I will let you know when I get to that level. And I would love to teach you both.
It's really, that's so
Stay
funny
tuned,
because
folks.
yeah, stay tuned. Absolutely. It's like, wow, this is so exciting. So let's start with the icebreaker, as Christina likes to call it. Tell
Okay.
us a funny, silly, or embarrassing story.
So there are so many. But I'm gonna go with probably the most publicly one was my husband and I like to go to car shows, and upstate New York happens to have a lot of those that, you know, just they have them like in parking lots of gas stations, and the Syracuse Nationals comes here once a year, where, you know, cars come from all over and it's a big thing. So we were at one of them. I can't tell you which one. And I was struck because there was a child leaning against the car fender, right? I couldn't hear them crying or anything, but it seemed like they were really sad and crying, and I was really bothered because you know, the parents were not attending to this distraught, what I perceived to be a distraught child, right? So that if you want to get me, that's the way to get me, is to ignore your child. So my husband's like, come on, we got, well, I'm like, no, like, I think I got to go say something. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't you see that child there? And he's like, hey, look over there. So I look, and there's another one and another one and another one. They are dolls. They were dolls. I was like, oh my goodness, I just wasted all that energy thinking that this human was suffering.
Poor suffering dolls.
For a doll. Yep.
And
Yep.
how cool, right? It's like the example of what we do, right? We see something and then we make up stuff around it, and we get so worked up over it, and you know, on and on and on the list goes, right? It's
Yeah.
fascinating. It's really fascinating.
You just always have to understand that what you're seeing is not necessarily the full picture, right? So it's a really good reminder that to ask questions, seek information before making an assumption like I did. We all know what happens with assumptions.
Well, and
Sometimes.
you know, assumption is something that's so normal and natural, right? It's like it's part of our, I think it's part of our makeup, right? It's part of our survival thing because we need to constantly gauge, right? Is it safe? Is it not safe? But you know, like we have to gauge our environment.
Yeah.
But you know, like being able to question that, you know, what is it? I think Byron Katie talks about when you go for a walk and then there's something that looks like a snake in the road and so you just like your whole nervous system goes oh, and you cannot think straight and whatever and then sometimes you take a closer look and it's like it's just a rope, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
exactly that, right? It's a
Yep,
doll.
exactly.
It's not a distraught child, it's a doll.
Yeah.
But
So
I also
that's,
love too when you said about take a step back, like I'm only seeing part of the picture, right? And how often do we do that? We're only seeing a little bit, and if we give ourselves some space, we can see the bigger picture.
yeah, I got so focused on the one child at the thing, like everything else was a blur, and all I had to do was pick my head up and look around. Oh
I
well.
think
That's
we can
that's
all relate
actually
to
that's
that.
actually a great one too, right? If we so zoom in on one thing, we just lose oversight,
Yeah.
right? We lose the whole picture. And it's like can we zoom in and then zoom out again to see, and then zoom in and then zoom out again to see, right? And wonder why it is that way rather than assuming that I know why it is that way. Yeah, I totally get that. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Andrea, what would you say your superpower is?
So my superpower is telling when people are are sick primarily.
Mhm.
But also I think that empath in me also feels energy shifts in them. So I tend to, you could say, read into, right? I can be in the same space with my husband or my friend or whatever and notice something about someone and say, hey, do you think? And they're like, what are you talking about? And then they look and they go, oh, right. So I'm especially tuned into my son and my other family members. One night, as example, my husband and I were eating dinner. It had been a perfectly fine day, and that was when my son was away in college, and I suddenly became very sick, like totally drained, lethargic. I started slumping over at the table, and my husband said, What is wrong?" I'm like, "Something's not right. I don't know what yet. Something's wrong with Gawain." And it wasn't but 10 minutes, and he called, right? And it was a major crisis. And the same thing happened with my sister-in-law. So there is some connection that I have, and that I've always had, I would say. There are many, many instances throughout my life that those are probably, my son and my sister-in-law are the two most significant. And because I don't have her permission, I'm not going to share about my experience with her, but yeah.
Mm-mm.
And your loyalty is your superpower too.
Yes, I wasn't thinking about it that way, but thank you. Yeah.
And your mama bear protectiveness is your superpower too, right? It's like the care, the love, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, yes, all of that. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So tell us about the time you took a chance for love. And it might be romantic, it might not be romantic. When did you take a chance for love?
Uh, so I think my short answer when I was thinking about this was every day. Like, right, you have to choose to nourish your relationships, right? You have to choose to nourish the people you love. You have to choose to nourish those things that you're passionate about, like the energy healing and other alternative therapies that I'm so invested in. Romantically, probably every relationship I had to take a chance on. So, my husband, I actually was married before my son's father, right, and got divorced, but I was madly in love with my current husband well before that. And things just didn't work out. And so I got married and then got divorced. And now I'm married to the person who I always thought since the age of 18 was the love of my life. And I had to sort of beat it into his head. And here we are. He never got married. He never had children. And so when I, got divorced and I had a child, it was a huge leap on his part to, come into a relationship with an individual that has a child. And a step parent is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. So I give a lot of respect to anyone that has chosen to accept that that challenge and put their heart on the line for for that. So yeah, this is so my current husband was probably my biggest leap of faith. But I made that I knew when I met him, but he wasn't having any part of it back then. So life happens, you move on. Just wasn't the right time. It was divine intervention, I'm sure. So you just go with it.
Yeah, well, you probably had to live through whatever you had to live through, and he had to live through whatever he had to live through, so you could actually meet up, often,
Yeah.
like so both of you could grow in whichever way, right? It's funny interesting when you started saying every day. It's like, yeah, sometimes it's like taking a chance of love is getting out of bed in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Facing the day.
Yeah. 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 And yeah. So yes, I think every day for all of us is a thing, but my current husband was probably the biggest, you know.
Cool.
Powerful stuff. All right, I'm going to throw the big one at you. What made you who you are today? So, for example, what was your biggest lesson, or what took the most courage, or when did you stand up for something that really mattered?
So, my biggest lesson was my ex-husband, who, God rest his soul, who is now deceased. We were separated before, he became deceased, long before that. And that relationship was traumatizing for both my son and I. And that was also when I really stood up because I had to change the situation, right? So I chose, with the guidance of the angels, by the way, to leave. There was one particular day and I was looking the angel right in the face and she was guiding me on my next steps, and that provided an opportunity for my son and I to exit that. It still was traumatic for years and years after, but that was that really my child, right, was the motivating factor, because it's one thing for you to be in a situation and you don't really see how bad it is, how negative it is, how traumatic it is when you're in it, because you're in it, right? It's really hard to take a step back. But when you have a infant child that is now, part of the equation, some light bulb goes off. So you have to choose to protect them. And that's really probably where my mama bear really instinct, I had to. There's no option. This is not a choice. This is a
Survival
must,
instinct.
right? This is survival instinct. You must, right? Who gives a shit about me? But that child did not sign up for this. So yeah, the day I left, the day I chose to change the situation, and it was only because of the support of my family and friends that I was able to do that, quite frankly. So without them, I would not have been successful at that. I wouldn't have. So
Takes a village.
it does.
And that was another huge chance on love, right?
Yes.
And I think it's interesting because we had somebody else talk about an angel telling her, you go out, get out, and you get out now. And it's like, wow, okay, yes, we are surrounded and we're guided all the time.
Yep.
How beautiful that, you got, how may I say, you got the challenge, but you also got the support to work yourself out of it, right?
Yep. Yep. It
Just,
just divine. It doesn't mean it was easy after I took that first step, but that's really what you have to do. You just
yeah,
have to take step after step and push that rock up the hill until you push it over. That's
yeah.
over the other side. So yeah.
Good stuff.
So, so you do all this healing, right? And you give in your teaching and you're loyal and what do you do to fill yourself up? What do you do so you can provide all of that?
So several things. My meditation is a key factor, right?
You're a meditation master too?
Yeah, I'm a certified meditation teacher through the
A
David.
teacher, that was the word, sorry.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Where, thanks to that, I met, two of my closest friends, Katrin and Danielle, who you both know. And it was a definite, game changer for me, to do that. And it was also a gift. So my friend Mary, Smith, I want to acknowledge her here, gifted me the tuition for the training, because she knew how much I wanted to do it. She knew how much it meant to me. And it was during the period that my ex-husband actually died. And so there was a lot going on as I was completely overwhelmed. I was a hot mess. And literally within 60 days, she had called me because there was apparently only one spot left, and she called and said, I know that how much this means to you. I want you to do it with me. And so so because of her, I was able to do that. And it was life-changing. It got me through multiple years of, addressing the estate, having to help my son navigate this new space, work through traumas. It was super traumatic for me, because the house was, one where I lived with him. So I needed all those tools to get through that. And I couldn't have done it without my husband and our best friend, Bill. Without those two individuals, couldn't have done it between the training and them. And so, so yeah, life-changing for me on multiple levels. So she gifts it to me, and then she didn't even end up being able to come because of a situation that occurred in her family. But I met so many wonderful people, and here I am. And yeah, meditation is my cornerstone go-to for recalibrating, every day. Do I religiously meditate every day? No. Am I mindful every day of something, be it 4 or 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 3 minutes or whatever? Yeah. So to me, I do meditate every day, because I don't think you need to sit in stillness and silence, right? There's many ways to meditate, as we've learned. And it's really just about picking out those things. And then gratitude. I really try, especially when I'm frustrated, to think about the things I'm grateful for. Does that mean that I don't have a whole day where I'm super irritated and somebody better not talk to me? Nope, because I have those, right? There's no silver bullet. But meditation is one of my cornerstones. Energy healing, of course. I actually am so energized when I give healings, because every time you give, you receive. So that is another cornerstone. I also have joined a gym recently, and have committed to myself to do that. So that was a gift to me, but from me, and I'm loving it. And, you know, just trying to make sure to spend time with, you know, the people that are important, quality time, right? So that's, yeah, that's sort of how I refill. And I purposely carve out time, you know, for my friends, especially that don't live here. So I try to set up times that we can Zoom, and Zoom is such a gift. I mean, right, we're all, I think, old enough to know that there used to just be the phone on the wall that you had to dial with the rotary dial. So, and pay the long distance fee, and who's going to pay for it? And it was super expensive, by the way. So, this gift of cell phones and Zoom, like, I can see the two of you. I mean, I know that the audience is only hearing the podcast, but I can see you, and it's so great. This is such a better experience than if I was just talking to you over the phone, right? So, so I think the technology allows us to remain closer and have better connections with people, and I really try to embrace that.
Beautiful. And, you know, I particularly love what you said about meditation, of course, because it's like, for me, sitting still is not, you know, it's not what I do. So if you give me a walking meditation, so my walk with my daily walk with my dog is my meditation, right? Because I get to just be present and look at nature and be in awe and be, you know, it's just, or standing in the shower and actually really hearing the drops fall, or all of that, right? This is as much meditation.
I like to sit in a window and watch the clouds, and I do call that my cloud meditation. Like, it doesn't have to look like sitting in lotus position, and no, you can, as long as you're
Well,
quieting your mind, your monkey mind, and
It's
so
it's interesting because for me, like, I have, like, meditation is something that like an Indian guy who could just remove himself from the world and climbed up in the mountain, sat by himself. I'm like, that's not real life. You know? That is not real life. That is just, like, and I remember talking to a healer about this. She said, as a mom, there's so many things pulling you, right? And I have 4 children. There's so many things pulling you. So just being present when you're washing the dishes. Like, that's why I love Thich Nhat Hanh, right? Because it's all about the mindfulness in every moment, right? So I thank you. Thank you for sharing that out loud, because I'm a full supporter of that one.
yeah, I mean, today's meditation was, you know, my tea, which you can't see, and sitting here staring out the window, because so far today we have had 3+ feet of snow. We're under a no travel advisory, and watching it continue to snow. I'm not even sure how many feet we're up to now, because 3 feet was hours ago. So, but that was my meditation today, was my hot tea and staring out the window at the snow falling, and it's just so relaxing. And I didn't have any interest to go anywhere, so it was perfectly fine that we weren't supposed to. Forced, you know, what do I want to say? Forced time into mindfulness was perfectly okay.
mm, so good. But I'm glad you got the snow and not me. So, all right. If you had a magic wand and could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
This was really hard, because I don't think you can give them one and make a significant change. I really think that they have to have at least 3. Compassion, empathy, and understanding, right? I think it's a trifecta, in order to move us to a more peaceful planet. So in giving one to this person and one to that person, I don't think is going to get you there, right? Because you can have understanding, but that doesn't automatically mean you're going to have compassion or empathy, right? And you can have compassion, but that doesn't mean in the back of your head you're going, okay, I feel for you, but I don't get it, right? So I sort of think you need the trifecta. So I pick 3. You said it was my wish, right?
Whatever you want, it totally works.
Mm-mm.
So there's my magic wand.
Perfect.
Very good.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo, right?
Yeah.
Yes, let's bless the world with those 3 always. So, who or what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, if you could be anything or anyone, anything or anyone, what would you be and why? Like, if you could do anything, if there's no restrictions and no limitations, like there's no time, there's no money, there's no, what would that be?
So I would definitely still be doing healing and teaching, 100%. That's like, right, love number 1. But I would love to be able to figure out a way to incorporate that with a nonprofit that help individuals in need. I know there's a gajillion nonprofits out there. I have no idea if there's one that already does what I would be looking to do, but ultimately I think the pain and suffering in the world, be it 20, 30, 40 years ago, be it today, there's always pain and suffering. And so I don't know when that might go away, right? Maybe not while I'm alive, right? If you want to play probabilities, it's not going to. So there's always going to be a need. And if it wasn't for my family and friends, I would not have been able to change the situation that I had been in. I had no money. I had no place to live with my son, right, without them. So there are individuals that don't have that, be it that were in the same situation as me, or be it hundreds of other situations, right, that just need a little help, right, to move to the next level and be able to care for themselves and their loved ones. So something that would definitely make a change for folks, but it also has to have healing and teaching. So yeah, some sort of nonprofit. Yeah, something.
Something.
Yeah. I haven't framed that out yet. I just know that's always been like in the back of my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just geeking out on what a difference that would make if that was just available for everybody, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and there were some resources here, but they were already overextended, right? When I called, they were like, yeah, we got nothing. We're full, we're tapped out, and it's the same situation, for the elderly. There are limited resources in our county. I know because I've been trying to find some for my mom. We're looking for just a little extra help for her. And it is so hard. I'm so blessed to have found an individual. But when I was first in need, when she broke her arm, like none of the resources they give you to call, they are all like, yeah, 3 months, 4 months. I'm like, her arm's broken now. And she can't take care of herself. And, so again, my connections, my network, my friend network resulted in somebody knowing somebody who knew somebody, right? Giving me a name and a phone number. And she is an angel, another divine God sent gift to me. So yeah.
Hmm. I was, as you were talking, what popped in my mind is that's a little bit what happens when people become a business, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Rather than having, when hospitals need to be businesses, when people care needs to be a business, then it's about the bottom line rather than about caring for the person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, having been a nurse, right, back in the 80s, we had such a higher quality of care in the hospitals during that time than what I have seen, having recently, been in the hospital with my mother, with my mother-in-law, with my sister a few years ago, my sister-in-law a few years ago, my son, like, right, it just is astounding that you sort of need a person with you. You need an advocate with you all the time because it just isn't there. It didn't used to be like that. It didn't. I so miss the days of when I was a nurse and how it was. Like, if I could snap my fingers, magic wand, I'll go back to the magic wand. Let's just go back. I gotta tell you. Yeah.
I agree. My mom was a nurse, and just very different, very different. Oh, we're not going to go off on that tangent though.
Now
And
that'll be an hour.
yeah. So what are you most proud of?
My transformation while still maintaining my core value system. I think that is it's really hard to maintain your core values, as all these things get thrown at you. So I'm super proud of that. Super proud of that. Yeah, probably, yeah. And I'm really proud of my son. I mean, to hear him talk and see the things he does and his caring for others, I really feel like I won, right? Like I did something right every time I see him or hear him do something. You know, I have to win a little more about teaching him about self-care, but but he's such a good kid. Yeah. So
Love it.
so that's really always, my child will always be number one, first, foremost. There's, yeah.
Mhm.
So precious. It really truly is.
Yeah.
Last question. What do you want people to remember about you?
That I was kind, that I was thoughtful, that I was caring. That they saw the effort that I put through to help them.
Mm.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
If I can't make a difference while I'm here, what's the point? And difference in a good way. Let me be clear. Right. Positive impact. Own your impact. Positive impact. Right. So am I 100% positive impact all the time? But no, right. We're not all perfect at all the right. We can't be. Do I try to fix it if I realize that I messed it up? Yes. And to anyone listening to this that I didn't, I'm really sorry I didn't realize. So I apologize sincerely right now. But every day I try and do my best, and that's all I can do.
All we can ever do, right?
Yeah.
It's again that like the four agreements by Miguel Ruiz, right? It's like you do your best, and your best today is not the same, or your best right now is
Oh
not
yeah,
the
no.
same as in half an hour, as in tomorrow, as in yesterday, right?
Yep.
Or Maya Angelou says, I don't remember how, I'm gonna paraphrase, but it's like you did your best and now you know better, so you can do better. So
Right.
something like that, right? And it's
Yeah.
really
That's what
that.
Oprah says, when you know better, you can do better.
Yeah,
She probably
exactly.
took that from Maya Angelou. So
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I think that's part of where I feel that compassion and understanding, right, come in, because we're holding we need to hold space for each other and forgive the past, right? So now if the same person keeps doing the same thing and they're not changing, well, then, that's a different situation. But if they're trying to be better, if they're trying to change, if they're, you know, trying to have positive impact, then, you know, why are you bringing up 20 years ago? Which I used to be great at. Just ask my husband. He's been one of my best teachers about that. It's time to let that go. It's really time to let that go. Yeah. So
Let that shit go.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So
Got an
And
oil for that.
we have an oil plant for that, yes. But it's also the like forgiving ourselves, right?
yes.
Because we actually participated. So I think that's a big part, like giving ourselves grace in that process. Mm.
Amen.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
cool. So beautiful. So you have a business. Do you want to tell us? Do you want to tell our listeners what you do, how to find you?
I would love to. Thank you. So I do have a business. I have my energy business. And I also happen to be a lover of crystals, right? I have a gajillion crystals. I incorporate them into my energy healing. I don't say Reiki anymore because I have multiple modalities now, right? So energy healing in general, I incorporate crystals, I incorporate sound. I have sound bars, I have tuning forks, I have all the things. So I do that via Zoom. And I can do crystal classes via Zoom as well. And those are on my website. My website is andreajwillis.com. So you can find me there. There is a form to contact me. Not that I try not to publish my phone number because I did that when I first started doing Reiki healing, and you get all sorts of phone calls. So I apologize for the slight inconvenience of having to fill out the form and send me an email, but you can do that on my website, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Energy healing is energy, right? We're all energy, so it doesn't matter that it's not in person. You can have the same effects, doing it virtually. So that's what I do, which also means that, you can do it on anyone, anywhere in the world. So, which is also great because you get to meet and work with other people. Hence, I did my water mastery training with the individual that channeled the healing modality who's in the UK. So we also get to learn from other people around the world, which is just extraordinary, right? It's amazing. So yeah, AndreaJWillis.com. Lots of things are up there, and Water Mastery will be up there shortly. I just haven't had a chance to get it all up there yet.
So exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait to check out this water mastery.
Cool.
Woo-wee.
It's great. I don't even have words. It just, it's different than angelic Reiki, but just as intense as that experience that we shared when we did our training together, the three of us. So yeah.
Well, I am excited to reach out to you soon and check this out, because who doesn't want to be in the flow?
Right.
Flow. Andrea, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you so much for bringing your passion for teaching and healing to our podcast. I'm just always blown away by your mastery and your commitment to healing people.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, both of you. It's an honor, like I said at the beginning, to be here and have you even think of me. I'm very humble. Thank you.
Aww. Thanks everyone for listening. If you loved it, please leave us a review. Please share with your friends. And please remember, you are extraordinary and you rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye for now. Andrea, you want to say bye?
Bye. I hope to hear from some of you. That would be
Yay!
awesome. Share this wonderful energy. Thank you.